All right, understanding the why people fail, the wall and the gap. Just letting you know that it's getting dark here now. It took me some time to prepare this. I'm sitting with a candlelight. I hope everything is okay. I didn't want to get too much brightness on me. This is a powerful training. Here's what we're going to cover. Why people fail to manifest their dream life, what the wall and the gap represents, how fears and doubts block manifestation, why people get stuck or give up, the first step to transformation, and an exercise. Warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. Watch the entire video, don't skip, don't fast forward. Pro tip, watch the video in 2 times speed, maybe 1.5. Figure out what's the best for you. So let's dive into this. Why people fail to manifest their dream life. You're now clear on your dream life, but many people feel inspired after powerful meditation or exercise, but then nothing happens. Why? Question. And my own experience in having thousands of people in seminars and when they are leaving the room. So, if you are watching this right now, and if you are in our manifestation course, the free course, you have done the 3-step meditation, the manifestation of your dream life, getting clear on what you want. You've created or stepped into, you opened the portal to a magnetic vision dream life. If you're watching this on YouTube and you didn't participate in those and you want to, there's a link below this video and you can join our manifestation course and it's totally free. So, you did the exercise, you are maybe pumped up, you're maybe excited, you're maybe totally clear on what you want. This is a powerful state to be in. And thousands of people that I've experienced this with in classrooms, seminars that I did, I've seen them 3-day seminars going through vision exercises, getting totally pumped up, feeling their dream life, getting clear on their goals, preparing their actions, and then following up with these people a month later, they were back in the old thing, the old game, the old reality. Nothing happened. And I also seen people who took action and really manifested the things that they wanted to manifest in their life. They created their dream life and magic happened for them. And I do know from myself, I shared my story with the $1.5 million debt into paying that off with and creating a cleaning company with 60 people. My first experience was a 3-day seminar, and on top of that, the things that I'm covering in this training, but what I also did was I manifested my first real coach, a business coach that I worked with for some years, helping me through the wall and the gap. Part of this is the old versus the new. We are shaped by all our past experiences, from the womb until now. What I mean by that, again, I could speak for days about this. I'm gonna share what I believe is enough to get you into this way of thinking and understanding it, but also it's going to be more during the other modules, and it's going to be even more in the paid one. We're also going to have live calls and things like that in the paid one, where I really can help people joining. So let's start from the beginning. People say we're born and then we're here. Now, I'm going to tell you that even before you're born, when you are in the womb, in there, growing as a baby, in there it's dark, getting fed, hedder det. The name is getting fed. And people say this is calm, this is nice, probably. But I'm just going to suggest a couple of things for you. And I experienced this myself in a very deep meditation. stay with me for a moment with this. Your mother, probably during those 9 months, experienced different kind of emotions, hormones levels up and down, body changing, maybe nervous, maybe fearful of what's going to happen, maybe doubting how this is going to work out, and maybe even doubting if this was the right decision. I know this can be a little tough, but it's true. And I spoke with women. It's very normal, and there's even something called birth depression and things like that. It's a very big thing for a human being, right? Both of them, mother and the kid. And maybe all of this stress, maybe the dad is also experiencing stress if there is a dad, and maybe mom and dad sometimes they argue, and maybe that gives even more stress to the dad. But think about it. The baby in the womb probably will experience some of these emotions too, right? Maybe hear some of the arguments. Not possible in a conscious way, but it's in there in the nerve system of the little baby in the womb. So that's the first experience we have. We have some very nice things, and we have some things that probably doesn't feel nice. And most of us don't remember these things. But it's in there, it's in our nerve system, it's in our database. I had an interview with a neurocoach in Danish some months ago as I speak now, and he confirmed that we know this today, that we are being projected in the womb from experiences from our mom and dad and surroundings. So now we're getting bored. Transformation, big time. From the warm, nice, being fed, dark, and suddenly we are squeezed and pushed and probably not really nice, huh? And what happens is it's totally light, white, giants standing like this and grabbing the little baby, grabbing you to come out. This is a trauma experience like nothing else, right? No wonder why many babies are screaming. So this is the first experience we have in our life. And it's in the database. Then the first years of our life, we observe, we're just like sponges. We take everything in. And we begin to create identities, and also a few years later the same thing. But we experience a lot of things, including some things that are nice, and for most people things that are not nice, doesn't feel good, or are too much for our little system at that time. So now imagine this. I had a client who I worked with one-on-one, and she experienced in her life that she was like a fumbling around. She wasn't in balance. She was fumbling around, and she had some experiences where people laughed at her, and she was she was not confident because of this, and she was afraid of situations where she could be laughed at. A businesswoman. And when we did some exercises and went back to the past with her, she realized that in a very early age, she was walking around in her family and she fell. So she was like trying to find the balance, and she fell. One of the family members laughed and said, "What a little fumbling," or whatever you call it in English, a little fumbling one, not balanced, and a laugh. I don't know. She didn't know if this was like a not nice laugh, or if it was a laughing laugh, or probably it was some kind of, you and me know that it was kind of uncertainty from that person. Some kind of, maybe that person also felt a little fumbling around and just projected that that experience onto the baby and laughing with the other adults, right? But this little kid took in that experience, and it didn't feel good. It felt really bad. and created a story around that experience, a story around not being in balance and fumbling around and being laughed at also. And that was part of that woman's identity her whole life until we found this experience. This is just one small example. It's the same with money, it's the same with success, it's the same with relationships, what we experienced with our mom and dad, what we heard about relationships, and also it's very different from culture to culture, from land to land, religion and all of these things. But we are brought up and we get a database of all of the things. That's kind of like a computer, it's our software, all of these experiences. We create beliefs and stories around that. And that's the result of who you are right now and who I am right now. All of these data. And the thing is, in the early ages, we take in some beliefs and we take them in deep in our core. And those beliefs shape our lives. Probably, if you think about it, I'm taking care not to go too much off-road here, but probably if you speak about money, you can look back at your timeline and you can see the same thing happening again and again and again. Relationship, the same thing happening again and again and again. Starting a project and stopping it, the same thing happening again and again and again. People laughing at you or people saying stupid things to you. Same thing happening again and again and again in your life, right? From those core experiences, we keep creating the same experiences. And here we are now. And now we have a vision, a magnetic vision. We want to step into this dream life. The only thing is that here, where everything is what you want in your life, even the person that you stepped into. You're here now and you stepped into this person. But here, where you are right now, you have a lot of data in your bagage, in your backpack. And that data doesn't match with this life over here. It's two different people. So it's the old versus the new. Also important to understand is that we manifest all the time. You manifest all the time. We don't just manifest what we want, we also manifest what we fear or expect of not good things. Examples, I manifested my $1.5 million debt. I manifested the toxic relationship. And then I got really conscious about creating my dream life. And when I say these things, some people, let's take this woman, they say, why do I keep creating experiences where I'm falling or fumbling or am getting laughed at? It's a manifestation of that experience deep inside from early childhood. Why did I manifest a $1.5 million debt? I built my apartments, everything was good. I've shared this in another video, but deep inside, I was afraid of losing it all. Deep inside, I had a money belief that I was not good enough for money and rich people were not loving people. Things like that. So unconsciously, subconsciously, I created that situation where I lost it all and where I really had to fight for some years. We just need to understand, or I invite you to open up to that we are manifesting all the time, all what we want. And at the same time, people say, but I don't want that experience with my husband yelling at me. No, but subconsciously, somewhere inside of you, if that's you, you have an experience from early childhood, and that experience where somebody was yelling at another person or at you, and you just keep creating that. This is where meet the wall or the gap comes in. Many experience an invisible resistance between where they are and where they want to be. This is an eternal battle between old programming and new desires. Most people give up on this. This is why, I don't know what the percent is in other countries, but I know that it's like 90% or something of business startups that fails. Why we have so many people, when we speak about entering a new year, they put up goals, intentions. What is the name for that? They put up those, and only a couple of weeks after, there's nothing more. And I see it in the gym also. People in January, in the month of January, first couple of weeks, a lot of people, then they are not there anymore, right? People give up. They have this wall, the gap. What is the point of being alive if you don't at least try to do something remarkable? John Green. Giving up is the only sure way to fail. Gina Showalter. There's no failure except in no longer trying. Chris Bradford. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Jack Canfield. And especially this one, on the other side of fear. That, in my perception, is the wall or the gap. So what the wall and the gap represents: your current versus your dream reality. You're here right now, you did the meditation, and you are clear on your dream reality, your dream life. Where you are versus where you want to be. The wall or the gap is the space between. You're here right now, you want to be here, your dream life. Between those two is the wall or the gap. People experience this different. And when I say people experience this different, some people experience this like there's always a wall that they're banging their head into. And that's why I say a wall. It's kind of like they start up something and then they hit the wall. Maybe you know it too. People are trying to lose weight. They start in the gym, they start different diets, and it's kind of like they hit a wall and they go back. For some people it's more like a gap, and I'm gonna dive more into this later on, but for some people it's more like a gap. It's like they are here, they want to go here, but there's this gap in between, and this gap looks so scary. So should they jump over here, but maybe they fall to the gap? Should they try to run and then see if they can run over in the air? But it's so fearful. It's like if they fall down this gap, maybe there are crocodiles down there that eat them. So people experience this different. And also to be mentioned that one person might experience a wall when it comes to something and a gap when it comes to another thing. The invisible barrier. The wall or the gap is the unseen force stopping you from reaching your dream life. Example, jump from 10 meters, Johnny. Even though it seems that you experience trouble or wall in your life, it's not external. It exists within your beliefs, your emotions and patterns. Feels like struggle, doubt or uncertainty keeping you stuck in old patterns. So let's break it up. The wall or the gap. Life example here. I had a client of mine who was an electrician. He had a team. I think he had like 20 people in his team. He had his company for, 10, 12 years. He was doing pretty good, but he was like, he had this wall. And we did some different exercises, and I became clear on something with Johnny, and I challenged him. So we talked about the gap, and then he said that gap is like me being on the I don't know what this is called in the pool, not there's 1 meter, 5 meter, 10 meters up, right? He said that gap is like me being on the 10 meters. I've never done it in my life. I am so afraid of doing it. So I challenged him. He accepted the challenge and he went and he did it. And he was so excited after this. He faced the fear. He jumped over the gap. And now the thing is, this experience for him, as an example, it was internal. I mean, for him it was no problem going from the 1 meter. For most people it's not. 5 meters was not a problem for him. And when he did it, after he told me the experience and he shared it with me, and the experience, like the physical experience was was not that different than the 5 meters. I mean, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 seconds, 1 second maybe. And maybe it's a little bit more splash, I don't know, but it wasn't that. It was a fear inside of him. Inside of him. And those fears, there was something inside of there of being hurted, like hurt, pain. But it was inside. It was not the experience, and he did it. He jumped through it. He closed the gap. When we experience trouble, doubt, uncertainty, I'm going to speak more about this. These things keeps us where we are right now. So one person might want to grow his or her company. He's here right now. Might be you. You're here right now. You want to go here to a Dremlife. Now things shows up. Customer, client who's not paying, or losing customers or clients, or losing team members, or things like that. Seems like in reality out here it's there. But from my experience, and even the neurocoach I spoke with told me the same thing. I'm looking through his book right now. It's a big one. And again here, we got the old versus the new. When we are in the old and we want to go over here, our system is not built for this. Our system is built for keeping us in the certainty. And when we step out of the certainty, it creates any kind of things inside of us, and it's beginning to boil inside of. If you feel it, if you're very emotional, you know what I'm speaking about here. Emotions are rising. The body might change, like I mentioned, getting red in the head, speaking in front of people, or beginning to sweat, or something like this, or the throat is tightening and the voice is changing. All of this is happening from the inside. And uncertainty, doubt and uncertainty, I don't know if this is going to work out. It's one of the tricks that our system does to keep us in where we are right now. That's the wall, that's the gap. Keep us in the old patterns. And it's exactly this, the resistance to change. Your body and mind resist unfamiliar paths even when they lead to success. Fear, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs reinforce the wall, making it seem real. And again, I could speak for days around this, but you probably know it, or you will begin to learn it very soon. Even if a person, like I mentioned from my seminars, people go out of the room after 3 days, they're excited, and a month after, nothing happened. That nothing happened. Life happened for them, and they forgot about their dream life. Part of the old, just dragging them back. Putting up thoughts in their heads or emotions. Every time, if they just had a little, okay, now I want to try, and then they forget about it. It's the old trying to get them back. And these things, if it's like what John experienced, or my client, the other client, the lady who was very afraid of falling or fumbling around in public and getting laughed at, all of these things, if it happened before, if it's inside of us, we will project things in our reality, and we will create until we remove the wall, until we rebridge or fill up the gap. We'll create new experiences of the same. And some of these thoughts or emotions about what could go wrong, which comes from the resistance to change, some of these thoughts and emotions can be really real. I mean, I don't know about you, but most people that I've spoke with, they have a little voice. Even my daughter mentioned this to me a couple of days ago, that her voice sometimes gets very big. Have a voice inside. And maybe you know this, you have a voice in both ears. Like, I don't know if it still exists, but in the old days you have those cartoons where you have a devil and a little angel speaking different things. That's the little voice inside of us, right? So maybe there's a voice saying, you can do this. You can do this. Your dream life is waiting for you. Just take the steps. Just follow the inspiration. Just do it. And then the little devil says, don't do it. It's very, very, it can hurt you. We will fail. You will look stupid. People will laugh at you. You'll lose all your money. Don't do it. And we got this going on inside of us. You know what I'm speaking about? This is the wall. This is the resistance to change. So the turning point, the wall is not a dead end. And I learned this when I went from my $1.5 million debt and I grew my company. I learned that my way of seeing this was that every time as we grow a company, or every time in the gym, or we want to change something in our diet or whatever it is, when we want to change to something else, when you want to step into your dream life, we will meet different walls or gaps. If we can see this as tests, like in a computer game, you know, you have to go through some things before you get to the next level. So if you can see it as tests, and once you recognize and shift these patterns that we've spoken about, you step through the wall or the gap into possibility. So, for instance, let me just take an example. We're going to speak much more about this now, but let's take an example. When I was doing my first sales call, I know I'm not the only one, because I took lots of business owners through this exercise. I even had to put bodyguards in the door. Big business owners, a lot of courage and big businesses and all of this. And we sat down, I helped them, let me take their example. I helped them create their sales pitch and all of this, and a list to people call. And I was going to help them to boom their company, their growth. And everyone was so excited. Yeah, I'm going to do this and all of this. And then I said, okay, now we're closing the doors. Pick up your phone and start calling. What happened, that's why I put the bodyguards in after. What happened was that nearly everybody had to go to the toilet, had to go do something, had to get some fresh air, a lot of things. Their wall popped up, or the gap popped up. Fear popped up. But it came in every different kind of excuses for them. That's why I had to put up bodyguards to stand in the door like this and tell them, you know what, do the calls and you can go in the bathroom. And people were like, but I'm gonna. And you know what? After having those bodyguards in the door, people had to do the exercise, went through the wall. They broke down the wall, or they jumped over the wall, or jumped over the gap, whatever they did. First of all, they created money. They manifested money right there. They looked the fear in their eyes and they saw the possibility. So, does it make sense? It's so powerful, and it's true stories. And obviously, what happened also was the people were so excited, like Johnny was when he jumped from the 10 meters. He posted a video to me. So excited, you know, the adrenaline, the good energies, chemicals, whatever is just pumping around the body. When we break through the wall or jump over the gap, you probably know this from your own life. So when we recognize it's just an old pattern speaking to us, and we just manifest in a way, then we can celebrate. So, you are always in the process of creating. Every moment, every minute, every day, you are a big creation machine, and you are turning out a new manifestation literally as fast as you can think. Neil Donald Walsh. Let me just say one small comment to this, because remember this voice? Maybe you have it too. Saying, okay, now I'm going to do it. Yeah, not today, because you will look foolish, or you're too hungry, you're too sleepy, or blah blah blah. Yep. And also, what I spoke about, that we are manifesting all the time. So sometimes the universe at least what I experienced and the people that I've trained and worked with, sometimes it's like, and it can happen very fast when we talk about the Dremlife meditation and all of that experience, it can happen so fast. The universe is just like, wow, here you go. Now I understand it. But listen up. Yep, you're not good enough. All right, so this is what you want. So the universe is helping you, creating something in your reality like you're not good enough. So you'll see examples of not being good enough, right? So, and I've seen this again and again and again, and the more, and we're going to speak about this in a moment, but the more aware I got on this voice and the feelings and the beliefs inside, I began to understand, wow, I understand now why it was so difficult for me to manifest good things in my life. Stop waiting for somebody to elevate your game. You are already equipped with everything you need to manifest your own greatness. Germany Kent. Remember, if you get inspired enough, the power you'll unleash from within will find a way to manifest your desire. Tony Robbins. That's exactly what the Dremlife manifestation, clarity, exercise, and meditation are doing. It's helping to feel that inspiration. How fears and doubts block manifestation. So fear triggers survival mode. When fear takes over, the brain focuses on protection instead of creation. This keeps you stuck in the same reality, repeating old patterns. It's the hamster wheel. And then the movie, I'll speak about that. So, I don't know about you, but I know, and the more aware I become about this, I know that I can be in a mode where it's like, I don't feel good. I feel that I'm trying to survive. I feel I'm spending a lot of power. I'm very stressed and things are not working out. And then there's another mode. I'm in balance, I feel good, I'm taking good care of myself, I'm in like creative mode, I feel like a part of the universe, everything is good. That's a very powerful mode to be in. So we got these two different kind of modes, and those two modes, I'm going to speak more about them, but just be mindful of them, and this is the beginning of it, the start of it, be mindful. In a busy day, it's difficult. And what happens to many of us is that we are so busy, and this is why we are in the same reality all the time. We just keep repeating the same things. That's what I mean with the hamster wheel. When I did the 50K business, coaching business, I spoke a lot about the hamster wheel because that's how my life felt. I was working a full-time leader job with the coffee shop business. I was running very fast. I did my apartments. I grew that empire, and I even wrote books and things like that. I was in a hamster wheel. I was so busy all the time. And again, like I said, I manifested very $1.5 million debt and also a very stressed body because I didn't stop. I didn't step out of the hamster wheel. And maybe you know the movie. I couldn't remember the name, and then we can just let your mind start thinking about now. The movie with this guy who wakes up every morning in the same reality. He tries new things, he even tries to kill himself, I think, and he still wakes up in the same reality. It's supposed to be a fun movie, and it is fun, but at the same time, I also think it's very tragical because this is what happens to most people. They try something and still they wake up in the same life day after day. What's the name of the movie? So, doubt weakens your energy. Manifestation requires belief. Doubt disrupts your frequency and sends mixed signals. You unconsciously attract more uncertainty instead of what you truly desire. So, to manifest, from my experience, that energy when going through the Dremlife meditation and the 3 steps there, that energy, I'm really feeling it, like I said, marinated for 24 hours, be with it, expand it inside, those were the words I used. The more of that energy, the more of the belief, of the of the powerful energy inside of you, the more of that and being clear on what you want, that helps the universe, your universe, to create that experience for you, to manifest that in your life. The wall, the gap, doubt, uncertainty, fear disrupt that frequency. And like I said, it sends mixed signals. So one person might say, okay, I want to manifest $1 million next year or this year. And consciously or unconsciously keeps coming something up like, but you don't serve it. Money is the root of all evil. Keeps coming up. Maybe a person is not aware and it's just inside. But that uncertainty, or actually that certainty that money is the root of all evil, creates the reality. So we have a conscious mind, and the more energy, the more it can fill you up. But it's only 5 or 10% up here, and the rest is in the subconscious. And imagine all of the data that we have in here from all of our life, and the beliefs and the story we created in childhood. If there is something, which there is for most of us, negative or not serving us anymore, it might have served us some point in our life, but now it doesn't anymore. If we have beliefs in our core around, let's say, money, and those beliefs are limiting, it's not beliefs that support and serve the reality, the dream life that you are a magnet to, and it's a magnet to you right now. So those uncertainties, fears, the beliefs that it's not going to happen or you're not good enough is disrupting it all. Past experiences reinforce fear. Old failures, disappointments, and limiting beliefs create mental roadblocks. Your subconscious keeps you in the comfort zone even if it doesn't serve you. And I got an example. So it's kind of the same here, but let's say you tried something. As we grow older, we try more and more things, we experience more and more things, and we experience, maybe from childhood, and it just keeps repeating on our timeline, but we experience failures too. Some of those failures didn't feel good, and we don't want to experience that again. It's in our data, it's in our software, and if we are getting close to anything where we could feel that failure again, our subconscious will do everything it can, put up a wall, put a gap in front of you for you to not go there. Mental roadblocks. Your subconscious will keep you in the comfort zone. And the comfort zone is a chapter for itself, but it's like the whole, our system is like, even though it's things that we don't want, if it's things that we know, then it's comfortable. And when we go into the uncertainty of the not known, you're here, you want to dive into you want to manifest your dream life. And to get here, it's still in the unknown. You know how it is to wake up with someone who you are not happy with. I know, maybe you know. You know how it is to have a business that is not growing. You know how it is to have a job that you're not happy with. You know how it is to be in a body that you're not happy with. Maybe you do. Maybe you do some of these. So even if a person says, but I don't feel good, I don't sleep good, I'm stressed, I'm not happy, I experience so many stressed people in my life, so much negativity and all of this, and the person says, I want to create a happy life. But all of this negativity is still what the person knows. It's in the comfort zone for the person. And when we want to jump or skip or step into something that is in the unknown, our system doesn't like this because it requires a lot of energy and also the things I mentioned before. It's gonna our beliefs that we created in young age, if we begin to doubt those beliefs or want to change them, still this is something new that's going on inside of us. And like when we go to the gym for the first time, we feel the physical pain the next days, weeks maybe for some, And it's the same thing up here. If we want to learn new things, new patterns up in our brain, I'm learning Spanish, and sometimes my head is like, I feel there's smoke out of my ears. So your subconscious keeps you in the comfort zone. It doesn't know what's best for you. And this example is a client of mine who came to me, and it was an event in, I don't know if it was London or somewhere in Europe. And she said, Michael, you're a coach? And I said, yes. And she said, I think you're the right one for me. She saw me in a room with a couple of thousand, and she was just like, she said, I think you're the right one for me. This happened for me more than once. Now, as this was one-on-one sessions, and as a couple of weeks into the program or sessions, she began sharing things with me. This happens so much. People are sharing things with me, and I'm very open and I'm very listening, and I feel them. And she began sharing that she was a cutter, so she cut herself. She was a business owner. And she shared that before in her life, it's a very sad story and a tough story. She was an alcoholic, and also that she took drugs, and she had many experiences where she was so drugged and drunk that she was just sleeping on the street, even though she was, the image was a business owner. And when we began to open up to these things, remember, she was a cutter. And I said, I'm going to go back to when we began opening up, but first she was a cutter. And I asked her, why do you cut yourself? And she said, this is kind of like protecting me from not doing stupid things. And that was why we went into the alcohol and the drugs. So she cut herself to protect herself from not doing stupid things. And she got clear on what she told me, that actually it was comfortable for her to cut herself, even though it's a bad thing, right? So, and from that came the story about the drugs and the alcohol. Before that, she told me, or we got into, because she opened up more and more, and her subconscious began to trust more and more and open up, and we came into some childhood stories for her, and she was actually being raped in a very young age. And from that, the person who raped her also told her some very stupid things. And her beliefs around that created something that didn't serve her at all through all of her life. And those beliefs manifested the situations where she got really drunk and drugged. And to escape that part, she started the cutting thing. And what I'm saying here is, what the start of this was, the past experiences reinforced fear. All of this was fear. She was so afraid of losing control or being what do you call that? She was afraid of the thing that happened early in her life, that it would repeat herself. And even though drugs and alcohol and cutting herself was not very good, it was in her comfort zone. And she said that, she realized that. And some of the techniques I'm sharing with you in the free manifestation program, opening up to it, is things that helped her and helped a lot of people also to understand that belief and the story that a person creates, but also on an emotional, from an emotional perspective, letting go of those traumas. And what happened for her was she became free. She became free when we touched that wall of hers, doing the right things. She became free. The wall disappeared. No more cutting, no more drugs, no more alcohol. And I know that she kept this. That's magic, and that's also manifesting in a very loving way. So, emotional resistance creates delays. I'm going to keep my photo here, or my picture here in this round circle, because I try to put it around, but something happens and then I'm getting out of this, and I don't want that. So emotional resistance creates delays. Holding on to fear or doubt slows down your manifestations. Accelerator and the that's a good question. The more you resist, accelerator and the brake. The more you resist, the more life mirrors back the same struggles. Life gets a struggle. So this is the big thing here for most people. What happens, and what happened for me too. Fear held me back. Fear held me back from the books that I wrote, from really going out and promoting them. Fear held me back in a very nice relationship I had before my marriage with a very, very beautiful and loving woman, but I was very afraid of getting cheated on, which happened for me in the narcissistic relationship. I was very afraid of her leaving me. So I manifested that instead of her leaving me, I left her. Right? Like the woman cutting. So I wouldn't get hurt. I left her. I hurted her and I hurted myself. Crazy, huh? But I was so afraid because deep down, from my childhood, I had beliefs around if I opened up and starting sharing my heart and my deepest, I would just get disappointed. My daddy was an alcoholic and I experienced that again and again and again in my life. I took those beliefs with me and created stories around that, and that's why in many years when I was a gangster, I didn't really have a relationship with any woman, because there was so big walls inside of me. So, and I really hope this makes sense. I know I'm saying that I'm walking around the same things here, but you have something you desire, you want to manifest, you're clear on your dream life. But there's also some deep-rooted fears and doubt. And these things, the angel and the devil, they slow down your manifestation. And this image that I'm sharing with you now, imagine that you're sitting in a car. You got the speeder, the accelerator, and you got the brake. So now you're clear on your dream life and you're like, wow, down with the speeder. Now doubt shows up at the brake. Fear shows up, brake. And most people, they run their lives like that. Speeder, accelerator, brake. And even though a person might not be a mechanic, I think it's pretty obvious that driving a car with the speeder and the breakdown, it's not good for the car. It's hurting the engine. It's hurting everything. And that's why so many people hurt. Dream life is just there. Fear, doubt, the gap, the wall, the break. We're hurting ourselves unconsciously. So, and life mirrors back all of these things. So, if we have a lot of fear inside, we will probably experience a lot of situations where that fear shows up. If we have fear around money, we will experience money situation in our life where we feel that fear. If we have fears around being good enough, we will experiences in our life, in our reality, where we will see, I'm not good enough. Life mirrors back. Your reality mirrors back everything that's inside of you. So why people get stuck or give up? Fear of failure or success. The fear of failing holds people back, but so does the fear of actually getting what they want. Success brings change, responsibility, and the unknown. Many subconsciously resist this. It's part of the same thing that I shared before. But fear of failing, on the other side of this fear of success, the root is fear. So even like me, I had a belief inside of me that and I heard that from my parents when I was young, that rich people are not good people, rich people are not lucky people, rich people are not happy people. For me, I always wanted to be happy. It's a very, very important thing for me. Happy and rich. Nope. Rich people are not happy. I wanted to be happy, so I couldn't be rich. That was my program. So even though I tried and worked hard and did all of these things, I couldn't be rich because rich people are not happy. And I wanted to be happy. And some people, they have also, maybe they have something around, if I'm successful, maybe they experienced a mom or a dad or a close family member who was very successful with their business, but because of that, their kids was not happy because they never saw their kids, right? So maybe a person is afraid of being successful because deep down, if I'm very successful, my kids will hurt. Maybe we have a mom or dad who is very successful or stressed, and we see that, and the stress creates maybe alcoholism, or the stress creates the anger or something like that. And we create a belief in our subconscious, it's deep in there. We create a belief that if I'm going to be successful, with success comes stress. And with stress comes anger. And I'm hurting myself and people around me, so I don't want to create success. So fear, failure, or success. And then old identity holds them back. They see themselves as the person who struggles instead of the person who thrives. If your inner identity doesn't match your dream life, you'll sabotage your progress. Again, if you remember in the meditation, you're stepping into that person, feeling how it is to be that person who is successful, who has everything that you're dreaming of, who lives in your dream life, right? And the thing is, it's part of the wall and the gap. So you're here, you want to be here, but the person you are right now with the fears and the uncertainties and doubt are experiencing this life. The person who is over here have shifted some identity, shifted some limiting beliefs into supporting beliefs, and also there's some emotional things, some traumas or trapped energy that this person has released. And when we're doing that, shifting the mindset or releasing emotions, it's like the wall is coming down. It's like the gap is being filled up. And when we do that, it's much more easy to step into your dream life. It's less effort, much more effortless. Then here, lack of immediate results. When we speak about manifesting dream life, people expect instant results and give up when they don't see changes fast enough. Manifestation is like planting seeds. It requires patience, faith, and consistent action. So, I remember I was sitting on a beach for a couple of years trying to manifest a lot of money so I could pay off the debt that I was growing into. The thing was that I felt much more calm after those years, but I didn't manifest the money. They didn't show up. And when I went to the seminar, when I got the coach, when I took action, and when I really started shifting my beliefs, my mindset, then the money showed up. And for me right now, as I see this, and I even heard The Rock speak about this recently, for me, when I see this, it's kind of like, I know what I want, you know what you want, you got clear and really clear on your dream life. It's there, it's right there. But you have to step into it. It's not coming here. You have to step into it. But the thing is, when we move, when you put your foot on the accelerator in the car and not on the brake, you move forward. The vehicle moves forward. And the thing that I heard The Rock said recently, which is what exactly I experienced, he's saying, like, I'm not measuring myself with The Rock, but he's a very famous actor and a lot of other things. And he said, do I believe in manifestation? It's my words, but he said something like this. Yeah, I do. When I manifest something, it's like I get clear on what I want. I put a lot of energy into it. And it's kind of like the universe meets me halfway. And I was like, wow, I love that explanation. And I've seen that myself too. I've seen sometimes it's like, wow, how can I be this lucky? And maybe the more we release, it's getting easier and easier to manifest. And again, I also like this. If this little thing here, if it's not just showing up, if it's not, let's say you want to manifest $1 million this year, and if it's not just showing up, we get impatient and doubt and fear and all of these things break down, right? And it gets even more difficult because the wall gets up for the universe to deliver. But imagine also it's like planting the seeds. So you planted the seeds when you did the manifestation meditation, getting clear on your vision and dream life. You planted the seeds. And marinating in it, really feeling it and really visualizing it, all these things is like putting water and good air and sun to these seeds and speeding up the process. Sometimes we still need to have some patience. So if we plant a seed, from plant to plant, it takes a little or longer time, right? Some seeds might take a week, then we see something showing up. Some seeds might take months. I think there's even seeds that takes a year or something, maybe even more, before we see something showing up from the soil. For us as human beings, patience, faith, and consistent action. The seed in the soil, I love this image of when we want a seed, the patience, the faith, and consistent action is us watering the seed, taking care that the seed got the sun and that there's the right air around it. Emotional attachment to the past. Unresolved traumas, limiting beliefs, and past disappointments keep them stuck. Letting go of old pain is necessary to create space for something new. That's the emotion part of it. I spoke about traumas. I spoke about things happening in the womb, in our childhood, and all of these things. The limiting beliefs, the stories we created around this. And much of this is inside here. Much of this is not something we are aware of. Past disappointments, failures that happened, relationship that went well. Maybe we spoke to a woman or a man and they didn't treat us good, and that we felt it inside. From my experience, and this is deep work, and this I'm gonna share more in the next part here, how to do these things, but from my experience, especially after the narcissistic relationship, I learned some very deep things about traumas. I do believe that every person has traumas. And I believe that because trauma is just something that we experience that is too much for our system to handle when we experience it. So when we are babies or in the womb, a lot of things can be a trauma. And it's like, and there is an explanation for this. I'm not going too deep into this in this video, but the neurocoach shared this with me. It's actually like trapped energy inside of us. And imagine a person has a lot of trapped energy, a lot of traumas, and those are filled with fear and like little darkness, and it's heavy energies. And imagine that a person dissolves those energies more flow inside, more light inside, more positivity inside, but also feeling lighter. First step to transformation. Awareness is key. You can't change what you are unaware of. Recognizing limiting beliefs is the first step. Once you see the patterns holding you back, you gain the power to shift them. Everything I talked about in this training about the wall and the gap, everything that the wall and the gap is. This stories with my client Johnny from the 10 meters, the story with the client Marie from her cutting and the experience in her childhood, the story with the woman fumbling and having that with her all of her life, being laughed at, my stories. To begin to change being in the hamster wheel, to begin to change and shift so we are not experiencing the same thing as in the movie. And I ask, what is the name? The name is the Groundhog. It's a Groundhog Day. That's the movie. He wakes up coming back to the same reality every day. To change this, to change the beliefs, to change the stories, to release the emotions, we have to become aware. I said it before, step out of the hamster wheel. Give yourself some time, give yourself a break sometimes. And I'm going to share more in the free community and even more in the paid community. And also in the paid we'll have sessions where I can help people with this. When we begin to become aware, we'll start the process in this video and the next ones. When you begin to become aware of what's going on inside, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and the way your body reacts to things, now you can begin to take charge. You are at the steering wheel. You can begin to recognize what is it that's going on. That's the first step. And with this, you have the possibility, and I also say right away the responsibility in your life to be the captain now of your ship, of your destiny. With that, there's a lot of power. And that's the person who's over here. And I told you before, with the limiting beliefs, with all the uncertainty and doubt, being in a stress, it's very stressful living like that. Most people live like that. When we take the power back and we begin to shift the mindset, release the trapped emotions, taking charge of all of this, beginning to understand and play with our reality, not just fun, but this is kind of like speeding up the whole process of manifesting. Taking responsibility. I think I just mentioned that. Real transformation starts when you take full ownership of your thoughts, actions, and results. Blaming circumstances keeps you stuck. Owning your power sets you free. I don't know about you. I was one of them, but I've experienced many people on seminars and people that I coach that are blaming the circumstances, blaming what goes on out here. And the only thing that they will get out of this is that they are stuck. But remember, as I said, that's also their comfort zone. Even though it's not what they prefer, it's what they know. So when you take the responsibility of the transformation, of stepping in and manifesting your dream life, take the full ownership of everything going on in your life and play with this to figure out what it is that you can change in the manuscript, then you have the power that will set you free, my friend. Letting go of the old, Releasing past conditioning, limiting beliefs, and emotional blocks creates space for the new. Manifestation happens when you align with your vision instead of fighting your past. All of this that I'm saying is pretty simple, yet not always that easy, but it's very doable. And I will share how to do these things. But it's just like, imagine, like I said, the Groundhog Day, the movie. If we have a program inside that's kind of like running a show in our subconscious, deeply in there, it's just running our show. It's just like a new play button every day with the same tape on. And when we begin to release, like I say, trapped energy, just imagine trapped energy in your body and you begin to release that. There will be flow in there. Even sickness can disappear when we release that trapped energy. Are you a little bit excited? Or a lot? Commitment to change. Small, consistent shifts lead to massive breakthroughs over time. Transformation isn't about, here's one, I can't see the word, changing one thing once, I think. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts their dream life. So, big or small changes, I've seen it all. And we're stepping into this very soon here. But I also do know, and Arnold Schwarzenegger says this too, go to the gym, keep going to the gym, doing the reps. Maybe the one rep doesn't feel like it's doing anything at all, but the one rep is a very big part of the whole game. You're sculpting your body in the gym. Every rep, every rep, every rep. And the same thing with this transformation, stepping into your dream life. Small, consistent shifts, mindset shifts, limiting belief, shift that into supporting beliefs, releasing trapped energy, emotions. Keep focusing on what it is that you want to manifest, and lo and behold, you will experience that person, you, in your dream life. Exercise. So we'll begin a little with this now. And as I said, in the paid community, there will be even deeper exercises around this. But this is to get you going so you can start doing your shifting things. But this exercise is for this training. We'll step into the mindset, the limiting beliefs, into supporting beliefs in the next training. So identify your limiting beliefs. I'll take some of mine with you just to let you know a little bit more about what I mean. Again, the first key here is awareness. Become aware of your thoughts and your emotions. Money beliefs. I had a money belief that I learned from my parents, that rich people are not good. Rich people are greedy, rich people are not happy. I had a money belief that money is the root of all evil. I had a money belief that you have to work very hard to get money. I had a money belief that money is struggle. I had a money belief that I don't deserve money. I had a money belief that people didn't want to pay me for anything. That's some of my money beliefs. And when I say this, you can go back and listen again, but think about what's coming up from your life, your experience, probably from your childhood, what you remember, some things happening now, but then maybe go through and remember in your life, when did I hear or see or experience this earlier on, and go back and go back and go back. Probably you hear or see your mom or dad, something around money. Health. Some of my limiting beliefs. I had a limiting belief that was something like, I felt like there was some kind of thing that was wrong with me. I had a limiting belief that was that I don't have enough energy. When I saw a person who looked sick, I could even smell when a person was sick. Even just a split second before I heard it or saw it or smelled it, I knew. And from that, I was like, okay, now I got it. And guess what? I got it. I had a limiting belief around health that I couldn't sleep. I had a limiting belief around health that I could not gain weight. I wanted to put on some muscles. I had a limiting belief around health that I had very small legs. I had a limiting belief around health that I had a big stomach. You know, this round stomach. That was some of my physical health beliefs. And guess what? With those beliefs, if I deep inside believed those things, do you think it was easy for me to create and sculpture the body that I wanted when my program was the opposite? Exactly. Love. I did mention a couple of things here. I saw from my childhood things around how my mom and dad, they treated each other. Like I said, my dad was an alcoholic, so I learned a lot of bad things around love and got a lot of disappointments. And I also, my mom and dad got divorced, so when I look back, I got a lot of limiting beliefs around love and a lot of limiting beliefs because I didn't grow up in loving, caring environment. And I know many people my age have experienced some of the same things. I know from people participating in my seminars or clients. And now, if I have a limiting belief that I don't deserve love, what do you think happens if I meet a potential partner, a pretty loving lady, but deep down I don't believe I deserve love? I will ruin that relationship. If I have a belief that I don't, and that I'm not good enough, I will ruin that relationship or potential relationship. Even with close friends, it's the same thing, and family members too. If we have a belief or we have some trapped energy around these things, it will show up in our lives. So here's the exercise for you. You can just pause and then come back. Take the time. And maybe it's gonna take you 1 or 2 days. Just take the time here. Write down thoughts that create doubt or resistance around your dream life. Your wall or the gap, whatever it is for you. Write down in different areas. Can be that we have very positive and supporting beliefs in money area or business area, but not in love or not in health. That's very common. I see that again and again. So you can go through it like all the areas in your dream life. Maybe you see that there's one area that you want to focus on, then start with that if it feels right. It's your decision how you want to do this. But just write down whatever comes up, all of these limiting beliefs. All right, that's the exercise. And then come back. The next thing is notice patterns. It's a little difficult to explain here, but I'll do my best. The beliefs. And what I'm saying here is probably rooted in the same thing, but the beliefs could be based on past experiences, and they often are. They could also be fear of the unknown, but fear of the unknown is probably something that's in a past experience or some trapped energy, trauma, and emotion in there. So some kind of fear that is being projected out to the unknown. But patterns, Like I mentioned, money beliefs, I saw different beliefs there. Health belief, I saw different beliefs there. Love belief, I saw different limiting beliefs there. But some of the love beliefs, if I don't feel good enough in a relationship, it could be, so this is a pattern you can see, it could be that I don't feel good enough is also why I eat not healthy food, or why I don't go out and exercise, or why I keep spending all of my money, or why you do it, right? So there can be something that's related into some of the other areas. If I have a deep-rooted belief that I need to work hard to make money, maybe I don't go on holidays, even though I really enjoy holidays, because I have to work hard to make money, right? So the thing can be a little bit like, like a puzzle, so things can be connected. Just see if you can notice any patterns here. And it's up to you to do the work here, but trust me, just becoming aware of these things, like I mentioned, this is the first key, and you're taking your power back. You are supercharging yourself to manifesting your dream life. So, summary. We went through all of this, why people fail to manifest, the wall and the gap, what it represents, how fears and doubts blocks manifestation, why people get stuck or give up, the first step to transformation, and the exercise. I really invite you and urge you, as always, to do the exercise. This is totally up to you, obviously. But if you want to take charge of this, if you really want to manifest the dream life, this is the key. You did the meditation. Now this exercise, beginning to understand what it is that holds you back, your wall, your gap. And in the next videos, I'm going to share with you how to, at least some ideas, and what have helped for me and clients to shift those beliefs into supporting beliefs, and also some how to release those trapped energies or emotion. This is so powerful, and again, I'm giving this in the free community. It's all in the free community. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to get into the free community, I'll make sure the link is below. And as I speak now, I'm just creating this community, but I see a growing community with lots of people who from a great heart want to shift themselves into the better version of themselves and into their dream life. And I'm passionate about it. That's why it feels very energetic sometimes here. So now let's go to work, do the work, and I'll see you in the next training.